Ahoy, friends. It's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
Well, hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, and that means it's the Dennis and Andy show coming to you live from two separate locations, my house, and Dennis is at his humble abode. He was a little too embarrassed to show up today because the Cowboys won, so he had to eat a little crow, and he didn't want to eat it in front of me, so he decided to stay home. I understand, Dennis.
Crow? What crow would I be eating? I had no skin in this game. The only thing I said was I was right there with your daughter. I was going to root for the Buccaneers just because, you know, you've been insufferable this season.
What?
Time in 25 years
what?
That you've actually been able to have a smile on your face for a season. You've been insufferable. And anybody who knows Andy go, yeah, that's probably true.
I thought you were going to change, by the way, into the DNA shirt. I guess you don't keep your promises after all.
Yeah, I was going to until you gave me crap, and I thought, screw it, I'll wear my Packers. I'm good with that.
Nah, you know what? Hey, I just realized it's a little chilly in here. Let me just, that makes the head feel cozy. That makes the head feel cozy. I at least know you're rooting for the Cowboys this weekend against the Niners.
Why?
Because I'm your pal. And you're supposed to have my back.
It's the Cowboys and the 49ers. I'm actually, I hate to tell you this, I would almost rather root for the 49ers. And if Joe Bernardo watches this, I'll be cheering with him.
All right. Let's say hi. Randy Howell is here. Hello, Randy. Popping links left and right. Thank you so much for doing that. That's right. Kor-Drath is live. You can go check it out at that link. Thank you, Randy. And you can read the first 8 pages at that link. And, of course, the link is always in the description below. Let's say hi to some more people. Amish Ninja, hello. Brian Blevins, hello. JP Roca. Brian Blevins is our guest, too. Marcus Kellegrew, hello. Hyper Kaiju in the house. Hello, everybody. Go Giants. No, I've got to root for the Eagles this weekend as much as it pains me.
I know.
Anyhow, today.
For you.
What's that?
Got to be a horse apiece for you. Eagles or Giants.
Oh, I know. Funny Pictures Comics, hello. So we are going to be talking about today the whole stuff going on with Wizards of the Coast and the whole licensing stuff. I've got Dennis here who is an expert on it. And we have Mr. Brian Blevins, hello, who is also an expert. I am not an expert, so it's good because they're going to try to explain all this stuff so somebody like myself and you out there, if you're not an expert on this either, can understand.
And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for signaling everybody to let them know that you're not an expert by wearing that Dallas Cowboys hat.
So I'm an expert on this, just not D&D. I don't even want to know who your team is. Who's your team?
I'm not really very much into sports ball, to be honest with you.
It's football. It has nothing to do with the important stuff.
Football. Got you.
Foosball.
And then Argentina. I'm for Argentina.
Oh, God.
Just kidding.
If it wasn't for the topic, I'd just bounce you out of here right now.
He bounces you out all the time.
Yeah, my team has always been the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, that's sad. You know, supposedly they're going to look at trying to get Lamar Jackson next year.
Yeah. Matt Jones is from here, so like Matt Jones has a talk show that he does like basically two blocks over. He does a radio spot here locally. So yeah, I'm a big Matt Jones fan, thus a big Carolina Panthers fan back when he was on there. So
right.
That's cool. Good.
All right, guys, let's.
It is what it is.
Marcus says, I'm not sure who I hate more, the Eagles or the Cowboys. Well, of course you hate the Eagles more because that's who you're playing this weekend. And then after they beat you and the Cowboys beat the Niners, it'll be a Cowboys-Eagles NFC Championship game.
It is kind of weird, though, because I thought they had the Eagles figured out. The Eagles went really good to begin with, but then they had boom, 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 loss. So I figured that they finally got found out, but apparently they're snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. So,
it's the quarterback. Yeah. I assume he'll be back this weekend.
Yeah,
it's looking good. It is looking very good. So I'm going to say if he's back and he's healthy, they win. If he's not, it's up in the air. That would be a shame.
Agreed.
Yep.
So D&D is going to be the topic. Wizards of the Coast, or should we say the greedy people at Hasbro, has decided we're going to go ahead and screw with the entire fandom and piss off probably 90% of the base.
And why is that? What are they doing?
Joe showed in, so we got hey, Joe, we just talked about you, so go for it.
No, Joe, it is not a bet. How many times do I have to tell you that?
So they have an open gaming license, and they have had one since 2002. And, the open gaming license allows us to create it. I'm going to pop it up on the screen here just so you guys can see what it originally was. It's kind of gobbledygook, but this is all the legal ones. But this was the entirety of the OGL. Basically saying you guys can go create it as long as you don't use our copyright stuff. The system reference document from 2000 will allow you to create your homegrown games and materials. You can do it in written, you can do electronic, and et cetera, et cetera. You can do it all. Just don't use our copyright stuff. But this is like a win-win situation. And the reason it's a win-win situation is they allow us to basically test, create all of this really cool stuff, and then they get all of our instant feedback, rule changes, things like that to improve it, that they can take and then turn around and use it. It wound up being a good relationship. So that's kind of it. They're revoking it. What we needed to do, though, we jumped a little too far. Brian, since you're a guest, why don't you tell our folks a little bit about you, those who have not met you yet from your other visit?
Well, currently I'm the pop culture expert for Pop XP with Billy Tucci and Al Scala, but I owned one of the largest gaming stores in Arkansas for about 15 years. It was actually called The Game Store. I had a website, The Game Store. I owned all the stuff, the trademarks and everything in regards to the name The Game Store. So I've been in the gaming community for way too long of my life. Absolutely. Not just as a player, but also as someone who dealt with the retail aspect of it. And being someone who was an LGS and also LCS, I had a comic book shop at one time as well. This is just absolutely a slap in the face to every one of these mom and pop shops that come in and push and try to make a living with what they love, and then also a slap in the face to all the creators, the people that want to generate games for people to be able to play. It seems like they're just systematically trying to cut people out, just like the comic book market. Like they don't want to give respect where respect is due to these local comic book shops, the gaming community, like, are the Wizards of the Coast when it comes to what Hasbro is doing, which I don't want to put too much on Wizards of the Coast because they're just doing what their overlords are telling them to. But, there is a lot of decisions being made that just do not take any account into the idea of the money, blood, sweat, tears, hours that are put in on the day-to-day basis just to provide a place and get the word out for their product that they're capitalizing from. So yeah, I'm not very happy.
Yep. I think everybody's right there with you. If you're really into gaming, we ran basically a 6-year adventure. We started out at first level. At that time, we were using Pathfinder rules, but we had set it in the Forgotten Realms world, and that was just what we had decided we wanted to do as a group. And it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of email role playing, and because we were scattered around, but once a month we would get together in person and we rotate houses, and we would joke, but I would put 40 hours a week into, making this, creating it, editing, doing that type of stuff. It was literally a second job.
Yeah. And one of the big things that, a lot of people don't realize the history of how much having these, this OpenGL and having the feedback from the community has helped the game. The whole thief class was brought up to Gary Gygax by the fans. Like, that wasn't something that was actually just created by Wizards of the Coast. I mean, that was a fan product that was brought to him that he ended up honing in. I mean, there's so many offshoots that have happened from that. People being able to create their own adventures and use their, I mean, that was the whole reason this was created. The whole platform was there for the people to purchase the items to be able to build upon. They spent way too much. First of all, there was a lot of money into printing these books, and printing the main 3, the Player's Handbook, DM Guide, Monster Manual, and then all the supplementals. Now, they had a couple of adventures out there, but when you look at it, the adventures were usually only bought by the DM. And when you're looking at 8 people play the game, like you pocket them in groups of 6 or 8, these are the people that are playing the game. Well, when you only get 1 of 8 or 1 of 6 purchasing the item, it becomes not really cost effective to print, to put the money to bring all these to creation, like to actually put the money in to create these adventures and everything. So that's why the OpenGL was put in, to allow these third party companies to build upon their base. So when people started buying these adventures that they didn't have to spend any money on, they go back and bought the main, bones of the building, and
Correct.
They got the money from that. And I don't understand the greed. And again, I keep falling back on this. The whole idea that the LGS is not being considered in this. Of course, they're saying, oh, well, we looked at what the players are saying, and we're sorry to the players. Well, you should be sorry to the LGSs. Like, you should be sorry to them.
Right. So not only did I would buy all of the regular material. I owned all the Pathfinder books. I owned all the D&D 3.5. 4th edition was garbage. I immediately ditched that, literally ditched it, and was done with that. And then 5th edition came out, and that wound up being, a much better system than I was anticipating. But all these third parties, Mongoose, Green
Mongoose Publishing,
we put out the quintessential book, the quintessential Druid, the quintessential Barbarian, the quintessential whatever. They were great books. I owned them all. The different monster codexes that they came out with. I kept a few. Unfortunately, I was short-sighted. Had I knew they were going to do this, when I got into 5th edition, we wound up moving into this house. I wound up getting rid of all my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd edition books. And obviously I
Like
didn't
some
have
of Fiend Folios, the whole 9 yards.
I've got, yeah, I did. I had the Monster Compendium, which was, it was a binder and you had them all in there. I still have on the back, I've got my original 2nd edition box sets I kept, but
cool.
really probably 85% of all my material is gone now. You can probably barely see it. I have the large, huge map of the Forgotten Realms back there. Those were the 4 from the Dungeon or Dragon magazines that you had 4 issues. You bought them, you unfolded them, and I taped them on there, and it's on a big board. But I got rid of them because I thought, well, it looks like we're always going to move forward, and I loved them. I shouldn't have. I mean, I had bookshelves, multiple, probably 8 bookshelves just full of D&D stuff and role-playing. Hackmaster, Earth Dawn, 7th Sea, all of that type of stuff.
Dude, 7th Sea was a great. So was Legend of the Five Rings. But,
yes.
About 10 years ago, there was these big rumors swirling because D&D was really hitting its stride. And the 4th edition, like I said, was coming out, which was more based off the video games. Like, this was the height of, World of Warcraft. All these games were these massive role-playing games online. The MMORPGs were going huge. So they tried to make the game play more like a video game instead of the role-playing game that we've all came to love. But they came out with this amazing idea that they were going to continue 4th edition, but then they were going to add more elements to D&D 1.0. Like, they were going to add to the 1.0 thing, and they brought out these amazing leather-bound gilded reprints of the Fiend Folio, the Player's Handbook. I don't know if you remember any of that stuff when they came out with those. But, they thought that all this stuff, and again, nothing came to fruition from that either. But, I mean, there's so many other ways for them to make money and monetize, and I don't understand why this is the route that they, obviously there's been an update, but up until this point, up until today, I don't understand why that was the route they wanted to take.
They had got a CEO, they put her in place, Cindy Williams. She's from Microsoft. And if you watched any of her interviews,
I thought Cindy Williams was Shirley on Laverne and Shirley.
From Laverne and Shirley.
I'm so confused.
Maybe it's her. It's a doppelganger. Only she's from Microsoft. Maybe she's a robotic construct. But she came in and basically said, well, at Microsoft, all of her interviews are, well, when I was at Microsoft, we did this. When we were at Microsoft, I did this. When I was at Microsoft, I did this. Yes, because it's a software company, and they're used to microtransactions. So she, in her mind, because that tells me she has absolutely zero interest in understanding this community, nor has any background or knowledge, and she's just going, well, we're going to treat it like a video game. And her decisions, so the reason why we're even talking about this was it was somebody from Wizards of the Coast that said, you don't want to do this. And she's like, we're going to do it, and basically flipped them off. So one of them leaked the information, the document that they were going to implement out, which is 1.1. And
Gizmodo.
They did put it out there because they put out non-disclosure agreements with it. You need to sign this and sign this non-disclosure because they didn't want it getting out there. Well, so they leaked it out there for everybody to see, and boom, it is as bad as what they thought.
Yeah, and I will say another thing. Like, again, she comes from a different world where the items are, they can be micromanaged and microtransactioned. Like, all IPs are not created equal. And I think that she was trying to capitalize on an IP that didn't have that that basically ability to move. It didn't have like that kind of Swiss Army knife capability to be used for multiple things, so they could, spread out and do all these different microtransactions.
Right.
I mean, it's so ridiculous, and what a horrible time for them to do this when Wizard of the Coast is still reeling from the last decision they made, which was the 30th anniversary Magic the Gathering debacle that they did, where they printed like non-playable cards, 4 packs of 4 packs $250 a pack, and you have to buy them in groups of 4. I mean, like, and you can't even play the cards. Can't even play them.
Now think of the timing of this. They've got a Dungeons and Dragons movie that looks actually good with a great cast, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be watchable.
And
That's
the TV series,
exciting, actually.
The TV series from the Russo brothers,
right? I mean, this had tremendous possibility. So you've chosen now to piss off all of your fans, and we were just talking about this, and they were like, I don't even know if I'm going to see the movie now. I'm that pissed off at them. And I'm like, they literally, besides losing, so D&D Beyond is their electronic portal. For those of you that don't, a lot of you probably know that. I am still a subscriber. I didn't cancel mine yet because I've got a whole different bunch of groups that I'm playing with, including a whole bunch of high schoolers and stuff like that who can't afford it. So I went with the most expensive tier, bought all the books, and when you do that, you're allowed to share them electronically so that they can use the books that I've purchased, and these high schoolers that don't have a lot of money can afford to play, and then they just buy the basic hardcover books and stuff for themselves, which is what...
Man, back in my day, I went and just hit up adults to buy me beer. Now they're hitting you up to buy D&D subscriptions.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's see if we can find us some adults so we can get that new Monster Manual 2.
Right? So, thanks, Randy. That's funny. Boy, it's almost like having 2 Andys on the show. But, so, the D&D Beyond, they pissed so many people off, they crashed the servers trying to... everybody, canceling their subscriptions. And then they're like, whoa, everybody's canceling. Maybe we better think about this, and how are we going to word this? I mean, it wasn't that we're going to retract it. We just need to work it. So they waited for 7 to 10 days, and they finally released a statement. And then their statement was basically, oh, God damn it. I can tell Andy's not doing a lot of talking because he sure loves to change everything. No wonder.
What are you talking about? What? What?
You're killing me, boy. You're killing me.
What are you talking about? That's been like that since the show started.
It has. It has been like that since the show started.
I was trying to figure out why Randy would say that, but I should have known.
This is just a simple test I like to call how observant is Dennis? And now everybody in the chat knows how observant Dennis is. It's like he has horse blinders on that you just can't see.
So guys, just think of this logically. I don't look at myself on the screen. I pay attention to the guests and their reactions and stuff like that. So now you know the vanity of Andy. He stares at himself on the screen the entire time. Oh, wait, Dennis and Brian are on the show? Oh, don't care.
I don't. No. It's a little thing called peripheral vision. See, I'm looking at myself now, but I can still see yours says something else.
I think Andy's just jealous of our hair. I think that's what it is.
Maybe. Could be. I doubt it.
But yeah, I mean, again, there's so much like the best way that I could describe what Wizard of the Coast has done is they were on such a good trajectory to do something amazing, especially with the movie that looked great, the TV series coming out with the Russo brothers, the people who brought you Avengers Endgame and Infinity, the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, I mean, all this stuff looks amazing, and then they decide to go snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
That is exactly what they did, Brian. So D&D has not been as popular it was since when I started. I started out with the old red box, right? Then, they came out with the BX, so I got the basic box, the expert box, the AD&D hardcovers and stuff like that. And D&D was popular. A whole group of us, not everybody in school, but a whole group of us got together. We were like the original nerds back then, we're like, yeah, go gaming. You actually had to color in your own dice with crayons and stuff. I mean, that's what it was all about. D&D right now with these younger generation, it's a whole new generation. because I'm actually doing stuff with high schoolers or junior high schoolers right now, because everybody wants to do it. It's their dads have been playing, now they're playing, and they want to do it. So you've got all of this fan enthusiasm. Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, should have been riding this wave, figuring out ways that they could build the fan base and do it. And the more bigger the fan base is, the more money they would have made.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like they don't care. And this whole thing was just to basically get in their foot in the door and eliminate the OGL to begin with, the original one. Like, because once they replace that, they get to add the little added addendums where they're like, oh, by the way, we can change this whenever we want. And that means that they could add whatever they want. They could change the percentages. They could up and, they could lower and raise the amount of money that you have to make. And again, a lot of people are thinking, man, $750,000 isn't a lot of money when you look at it. But when you look at, there's a lot of companies that are making that kind of product on the third market, the third person market, like the third party deals. It's like, you don't know how much money they're bringing in. And also that opens up for video games. Like right now, there's tons of video games that use the same, kind of SRD, the same reference information to kind of help create these MMORPGs. So once they get their foot in the door and they get to twist that to where they can put another foot in the door, and eventually they walk through, they get to do whatever they want, and they get to go everybody back in retro, which is
right.
I mean, is ridiculous.
So I'm giving you guys an example. This is White Box. This is for the old school, the OSR. This is like the original D&D box set, only they cleaned up the rules. Gary Gygax had a lot of, I've got a buddy, he's in the chat right now, who owns the original White Box set. And, there's a lot of high Gygax, speak in there. Well, they cleaned this up, but because, it originally was D&D, there's your original Open Gaming License 10A. And they had it in there. But the entire gaming system is this little box. And if you really want an old school one, this is the way to go. But it's still under the original OGL.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of people. I was watching Previews World earlier today with Ashton and Troy Jeffrey Allen, and he did not know that Paizo and Pathfinder was literally able to be created because of the OGL. I think a lot of people don't know that. Maybe the people that are paying attention now, they understand it. But, even the Critical Role team, I know some people are saying they want to change the Critical Role guys to a point. Like, Critical Role has a partnership with Wizards of the Coast. They have a deal with them, which I think would not really affect them because they already have contracts and everything put into place. That was something that was sent out by the Critical Role team. Like, they are all about the players. They're all about the game system. They're about their fans. But, the only reason they were able to have any of that was because of Wizards, and they do still have an agreement with them. So maybe they weren't able to come after Wizards of the Coast with as much aggression as their fans wish they would have.
And that's true. Critical Role did that. Paizo did that because they're under existing agreements. You cannot disparage them by saying it. Behind the closed doors, they're probably screaming.
Yeah, they're like, can you believe this?
Oh,
right. So here's one of the things. This is something that a lot of us are going to be talking about. Paizo announces system neutral open RPG license. They're calling it ORC. So basically, one of the cool things in here, we believe that any interpretation that the OGL 1 or 1A were intended to be revocable or able to be deauthorized is incorrect, and with good reason. We were there, and they were there at the very beginning.
Yeah, Lisa Stevens. Lisa Stevens was definitely the best. She's the one that she was a Wizard of the Coast employee, and when they went to 4th edition, she's like, "Oh, wait a minute." She's like, "You're just going to abandon 3.5? Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and bring that up. We're going to go ahead and bring that over. We want to use it." And man, they killed the game at the time because 4.0 was horrible, and 3.5 was thriving. And then when you have a whole brand new gaming, and they created these big, thick adventures that came out basically bi-weekly. I mean, it was insane. Like, Paizo had such a better model than what D&D did.
It was. Now, we didn't subscribe to the modules because we always created all of our adventures from scratch. It was always from here. We never really bought them. One of the guys in the group, when he played side stuff, he bought them, but, we didn't. But the important thing is this statement. We believe that, as we always have, the open gaming makes better gaming, improves profitability for all involved, and enriches the community of gamers who participate in this amazing hobby. And so we invite gamers from around the world to join us as we begin the next great chapter of open gaming with the release of a new open, perpetual, and irrevocable open RPG creative license called ORC.
Yeah, and I will say, though, this did come out before Wizards' announcement today, where they said they were not going to go after any past stuff, which was not what was openly being said before. But I think just bravo on Pathfinder and Paizo for sure for doing this and letting people know that that they're going to fight for them.
Well, they also stated that their second edition is not OGL compliant. It doesn't need to be. They basically said, we were using the OGL for this system just to make you happy. All the content in this is not required to be on the OGL. It's our own stuff.
Right.
And we hope it doesn't go to court, but if it does, we are here to fight for you and all of the fans with lawyers. And to me, they just put their foot forward going, you just screwed all the fans. We are going to do it. We are going to make a license that's perpetual and irrevocable. So if you use our system, we will never screw you over. And honestly, if that isn't a huge step forward, I am wondering how many of their people are either going to jump to Paizo and do it, or do they create their own system?
Yeah, you want to answer that one? Are you?
What if you don't use the OGL in your game legal text? Would you need it if you built a game or not using their stats model? As long as if you are not using, basically if you're not using any of their terms, like you can't use a beholder, for example, that is strictly licensed a Tarask. If you're going to use anything outside of the SRD that they have trademarked, it falls strictly under them. You can use anything in the SRD, but you falls under the license. You could use like the system, the 3 to 18 system. You can use the D20. You just can't call it. You can call it a D20 system, but you can't call it the D20 system. Something.
Well, that's not because of Wizards, though. There was a company that actually trademarked the name the D20 system.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not because of them, but yeah, absolutely. Like the thing is that a lot of people are not understanding is the OGL is just a small piece of this. Like, people are all up in arms because of the words that are being used, but they don't understand what all is in that 400-page SRD. Like, obviously you can't copyright armor. You can't copyright fighting. You can, however, copyright like owlbear or, Draco Lich and stuff like that. Those are some of the items that they have, but the actual thematics of how the game is done, like rolling the dice, things like that, you can't copyright those. So the actual gaming mechanic, you can't actually copyright a game mechanic like rolling dice. You can't do that, because if that was the case, like, nobody would have dice in their games except for Monopoly. Right. But yeah, like there's some items that are done, but it is so expensive and so much, which I was talking with Dennis about this yesterday. It takes so much to create your own game, and to create it with there not being any overlap to another game that's out there. Like when you look at copyright and you look at trademark infringing and everything, there has to be a certain percentage, and you have to stay underneath that percentage in order to not get sued. In order to not for it not to be the same. Kind of like the same in music. Like when I don't know how old the people are in there, but the whole Queen Vanilla Ice, the dun, dun,
when
dun,
you sample
dun,
some music and stuff, there's a certain amount you can use.
Yeah, the pressure, the thing, the dun 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 dun. Like when he tried to break out the beats,
Can't
like
touch
it has to be a certain percentage, and for them to hit, and there is a lot in there that people are not talking about in the SRD, and I also don't know if when they bring out a new OGL like a 1.1, if they don't change that SRD to go to accompany it. I don't know. It's poor timing. It's a poor choice for them to do. I was telling Dennis, I see what's going to end up happening is they're just going to bow down and let everybody happen, and they're going to come out with D&D 6th edition, which is going to be all brand new, which is going to have its own OGL, which is going to have its own item, and then they're just going to quit offering any support to any of these older items.
Right. They're transitioning 5th edition into D&D, 1 D&D.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a subscription base, and we were talking about this today. I had heard originally it was going to be like $30 to $50 a month plus microtransactions. I was talking to a very knowledgeable guy at the comic shop today, because he deals a lot with. He's got a lot of games and gamers that he deals with, and he was telling me it was going to be a lot more than that for your annual or your monthly subscription, I should say. Maybe $50 to $80. Plus microtransactions and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like owning an Xbox. That is so much. You have just literally lost an entire swath of customers that you would have. You've priced yourself out of the market.
It's more than the Adobe suite monthly.
Right.
I mean, the Adobe suite, they give you Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, they give you all this to After Effects, and that's cheaper than what they're planning on doing here.
Yep, well, I agree. I mean, they are losing it. So they're asking, so I've had a lot of people, particularly ask me, what are you guys doing, with Kor-Drath? Is it going to impact you? I told everybody just to relax until we got all the information. Andy and I have been talking about. The comic book is impacted absolutely zero. The comic book is based in my world, and it doesn't use any game mechanics whatsoever. Magic is a completely different system. This is purely story driven. And then the cool thing is when Andy's doing, I got to see the new page today. Yeah. And you look at that, you would not say, oh, well, that's that spell or that spell. Everything, no. You can only do so much with fire. There may be a few similarities because that's just the way you interpret magic. But yeah, there's nothing to it. The module, on the other hand, what I was doing is it's still all about creating story, right? So then you've got to take the story, and since everybody's been playing 5th edition or Pathfinder, I was just going to go ahead and use 5th edition and take my stats, which is the only thing you'd have to really worry about in order to block the stats in there for it under, the OGL. Well, with them doing this, I can already tell you, screw Wizards of the Coast. I don't need to even get involved with this stuff.
You don't even want the appearance of cohesiveness. You don't even want that.
Nope.
It'll drag you down. Stab you in the back. So the question
becomes, so here's a few different things. So Dungeon World. So I wound up getting my copy of Dungeon World. So there are a lot of old school or ones that do, but these are all based off of the old version of the OGL. I got Basic Fantasy, so I grabbed a copy of that. Another one that I kind of like, it's old school. And in the back, there's your OGL, your original one that's in there. Now they're trying to, force you into, in the new one, well, even the older stuff you can't use. It's ridiculous. So I went around today or the other day trying to find Pathfinder 2nd edition to look, because I used to play Pathfinder, but it was all 1st edition. I was able to find one in town that was actually the pocketbook version. It was the only one that I could find. So I did grab it. So I will be reading through the 640 pages to understand if this is the route we're going to go or not, or do I wind up using, another system? And that's another thing we kind of want to talk about is, what are our options out there? If we're not going to use this, and a lot of creators are in the exact same boat that we are. So, Brian, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously Pathfinder seems to be like the go-to that everyone's wanting to rush to. Of course, they're the people that are, Wizard of the Coast fans that saw this announcement. They're just like, oh, great. Well, they ran it back. So everything's all good and we can all be, happy-go-lucky with Wizard of the Coast. No, it's just them stepping back to let the dust settle to see what kind of damage was done. Then they can go in and take advantage of what has happened. Again, there's been so many great ones over the year, like all the Palladium games, they had their setup. The Shadowrun people, they had an amazing base.
Earth Dawn.
Yeah, say what?
Earth Dawn.
Yeah, Earth Dawn. And of course, like I talk about this all the time, but GURPS. I love GURPS. GURPS is actually stands for a generic universal role playing system. So it adapts for everything. Again, I think that Wizards I'm saying Hasbro. Hasbro hasn't read the room in a while. They have not. They're looking through tunnel vision, and they think that they are the alpha and the omega of all of the things that are out there, and it's going to be it's going to be a very bad rude awakening for them when they realize that they're going to lose a large part of their market share because they tried to get greedy. And
I think Alex is right. We were off screen talking before the show, and I'll pull it up here in a second. I agree. This is they're pulling back, they're regrouping, and they're just going to wait to the future when, like you said, maybe it's 6-0, maybe it's something else. Mm-hmm. They have now lost all the goodwill of the fans, and now everything in the back of our mind is, how are they going to screw us next year, next month? It's coming, and we feel it.
Absolutely.
Bend over, grab your ankles.
Yeah, it's definitely not that they retreated to regroup for the players. They went back to regroup and reform their strategy so they could still attack and get their open gaming license, their money in there. I mean, like they stepped back because they still are going to come forward. And it is horrible because, again, like I said, no IPs are created equally. Like they cannot monetize this more than they already are. I mean, they have games. They have this, D&D 1. They have all the online stuff. They still have the licenses for the third party items coming out there. Everybody's loving the game, and they just shot themselves in the foot. But again, I hate that I'm attacking Wizards of the Coast with this, because I am like 90% sure that the blame is on Hasbro.
It is.
The blame is on Hasbro. It's not Wizards. Unfortunately, they're just collateral damage. Like they're the messenger that is being killed. Like they're like, don't shoot the messenger. Well, Wizards of the Coast is getting shot up pretty bad.
Amish Ninja's asking, does the OGL apply to the systems before 3.0? Yes. It does. So this dropped today, just a little while ago, from Gizmodo. They've been doing a nice job. There's, like I said, you guys can probably go on YouTube or just Google OGL 1.1 or 2.0. You will just be inundated because everybody's talking about it. But Wizards of the Coast announces transparent feedback process. on D&D's new gaming license. They came out with their apology, if you want to call it that. It was not an apology at all. It was as backhanded of a slap as you could. They basically lied through the entire thing. I watched it live when it was released. Somebody live streamed and read it out loud. Probably 80% of what was in there was total fabrication. Oh, it wasn't leaked. We put it out there just so that you guys could give us feedback.
Yeah.
That's crap. This was already ironclad, put in there, and you'd sent out NDLs. So that is just garbage. But as we go down there, a second FAQ for the 2.0 version of the license, also obtained by IO9, still includes several of the more controversial updates, notably the deauthorization of the 1.0A OGL in spite of Wizard's statement declaring that, it's already been changed in the latest version at the time of the leaks. Again, they are going to try and tell you to your face, we're nice about this. You guys are reading too much into this. We're just looking for feedback. They're going to tell you that it didn't, it's not going to exist. And then the moment you look away, they're going to stab you in the back. This is the other thing, video content in the forum. Basically, they stipulated they only want you to do printed material. NFTs, the electronic, the virtual tabletop stuff, they want to try and capture all of that. And they're basically saying, well, it was never intended for that. You know what? Like I said, no matter what you try to do, the problem is so many people today, back in our day, we all got together with people. Went over to somebody's house. There's a lot of virtual ones, right. Obsidian Portal, Roll20, whatever. And everybody games virtually now like that. And that's cool if you want to charge a system for that. But they're trying to get their claws into everything to not allow anybody else to do it. I'm just kind of over this whole thing now.
I just want to point out 40% Zed said, if you think Wizards of the Coast is a victim, you're a fool. I just want to disagree with that for a second. Like, again, Wizards of the Coast is like, they were a platform and now they're a tool. Wizards of the Coast, when it was created by Richard Garfield and they purchased TSR in order to do all this stuff, none of this was Wizards of the Coast's plan. But, when they got bought and sold on the public market, like, they had to start answering for money, and they couldn't, the people want money. They want increase every single year. Like, the investors want to see money every single year. So it's like they're already trying to get every last drop out of it they can. And now they brought in this new person that sees money every time they see an IP. And they're just like, well, here's an IP where we haven't squeezed. Here's something we haven't squeezed. And Dennis can back this up as well. Like, when Hasbro went to Wizards of the Coast and said, hey, like, we're going to do this, Wizards of the Coast is like, don't do that. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. And they're like, well, we're in charge. You have to do this. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which is also insane because they lose so much money in their toys and their board games. I got nothing. Like, they make a lot of money off the Avalon Hill stuff that they did, but yeah, it seems like why jab where they don't need to be jabbing.
Yep.
Absolutely. They've sold out though. They've sold. It's not like if they were still around, if they were still alive, they would be part of this. They're not. They've already moved on to other things, and it has already become a corporate entity.
Yes. Yeah. They are a part of Hasbro, and the new lady from Hasbro says we are going to milk them for everything that they've got. It doesn't matter how many people drop it. We're just going to get more money out of this rock. It's very much like the comic book model for Marvel and DC.
Yep.
Look, we've got this fan base, but we're going to put out 15 new covers of number one when we relaunch it. We're going to milk you guys, and we're only going to run it for a year. Then we're going to relaunch it as a number one again and do 15 more covers. And I'm like, you're literally just squeezing blood from a rock.
Well, Wizards of the Coast actually started doing that with Magic the Gathering. Like the new set of Magic the Gathering Phyrexia All is One. Like they have the brand new Elish Norn, which is a Phyrexian a legend, one of the cards that's like pretty big in the Wizards of the Coast mythos for Phyrexia. In the new set has 12 different variants. Like it used to be like there's one, you have like one mythic, and with the mythic you can get a foil version. So you had a foil or a mythic non-foil version, and those were the only two options for the one set, which kind of like let them hold the value, and which made it, you know, so that LGSs could bust open boxes and make money off the cards. But now they're doing this thing where they're having collector's editions, draft sets, set boosters, secret layers. Oh, by the way, we're going to have a full art Elish Norn, a full art foil Elish Norn, a Phyrexian language Elish Norn, a foil Phyrexian Elish Norn, a regular Elish Norn, a regular foil Elish Norn. It's like literally like 12 variants for one card. And then they do that with all the popular cards in the set.
Yep, and that is exactly what you're doing. I agree with 40% Zed completely.
And that comes from Hasbro, though. That doesn't come from Wizards of the Coast.
Yes,
all
the bad stuff that's going on is Hasbro driven. Wizards of the Coast piped up in their internal meetings and said, "You don't want to do this," and Hasbro said, "But we do." So, Kuiper Kaiju asked, we might have to bring the blood pressure down just a bit.
All right, man.
Favorite old school D&D module? Give me 1 second. I actually have one. I'll be right back.
Oh, of course.
Oh, no.
I do not have one. I will not be answering this question.
Man, I want to think of the name of
What is up, SDA in the house? Everybody, please like, subscribe to the channels. Yeah, Dennis is back.
It is.
All right. Back. So the original, I don't know if I have the original version. So one of my favorite ones from one of the old ones was the Isle of Dread.
I thought that was going to be the one that I was going to say, but it wasn't. Thank goodness, because it's
the one that I actually love because it came with the original box set. And I don't have the original version, but I'm going to show you a cool one. Was the Keep in Borderlands. And it was just an awesome one. So this company, which did something awesome, ties in directly with what we're talking about. Look at the size of this thing.
Dude, that was the D&D Encounters game. They just got all of it together and bound it.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So what they did was they published the original version of the module right in here. And then what they did was they went and updated it for 5th edition with all the stats, the monsters, the traps, everything that they did. They made it 5th edition compatible. And then, they put both versions in here. So you actually have the original, the one as it was printed, and the new 5th edition versions. This was a great fun. The old school modules were awesome because, you guys open up the door. You're in a 10 by 10 foot room. 3 red dragons are against the wall. What do? What? But they were awesome. They're
like, find some clean pants.
Right. So Keep in the Borderlands was what it was called, right?
Run.
So this was just good, classic, fun stuff.
So there was obviously, I think everyone who's an old school D&D, they love all the adventures that have that talk about the deck of many things. Of course, also, you have, which is now popular because of Stranger Things, the Hand of Vecna, the Eye of Vecna, all the Vecna stuff, which is awesome. But man, I will tell you, at the time when I was playing back in the day, nothing was better than the Den of the Bugbear. I don't know if you remember that or not, but Den of the Bugbear was absolutely incredible. It was for the next level of groups, it took forever for you to level up unless you had a DM that was very generous with the experience. But yeah, man, the Den of the Bugbear was definitely one of the big ones for me.
That was fun. One of my favorite ones, which was in the advanced ones, there was the Giant series. There was G1, then G2, G3, and then they put them all into one module called Against the Giants. That was a totally terrifying, really awesome module base. What can I say? That's awesome.
Man, I really should have played this when I was in high school because I wasn't getting laid. So I might as well have played this.
Oh, wow.
So,
you should have, just like with everybody else that was doing it. See, Hyper Kaiju Against the Giants, right? Yep. Queen of the Demon Web Pits, another good one.
Oh
that was our delving into with the
all of that was before they went to Ravenloft, right?
What's that?
All of that was before they went to Ravenloft and all that good stuff, right? It was way before then.
Yeah, and then they did the Ravenloft.
Oh, look, hey, Dennis brings up Ravenloft.
Hyper Kaiju.
See, I beat Dennis to it.
You did, because we actually played when down at Mike's in Milwaukee, the entire Ravenloft one, and of course I decided to play a paladin in Ravenloft.
Dude, Ravenloft was pretty incredible.
Yep.
No, Agent Cub, now I know how Dennis feels when I have an artist guest on, and after we talk about comics, we start talking about the process of art, and Dennis just sits there twiddling his thumbs.
The funny thing is that it's true, because there will be times where they'll say Dennis's eyes are glazing over. I use this brush. I use this pen. Oh, if you hold your fingers this way, it does this. And I'll be like, okay. And I'm usually the moderator. The roles are reversed. And Andy, you really should come over for a gaming session and try it.
I will, once Kor-Drath is up and running.
That's right. So now,
Alex,
this is kind of funny.
Have you ever heard of the head of Vecna, Dennis?
So here's the funny thing. Vecna, because this was old school. I mean, this is like the original box set stuff.
Yep.
Vecna was never actually a character in the game. He was, I believe, only mentioned as a name. And then Stranger Things decided that would be really cool if we did an entire series around it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Isn't Vecna the name of the bad thing in Stranger Things?
Well, hold on now. Like the thing with Stranger Things is the kids were playing D&D. Like the kids were already playing D&D. Like it was a big part of it. So when they saw something that was a demon or whatever, they related it to something that was in the game. Just like when they saw the bad guy, they related it. They were like, oh, well, he's got a hand that he latches on and does. Spoiler alert for all the Stranger Things guys. He's got a hand that does this. Oh, it's the hand of Vecna. Oh, well, the Vecna. It was a big thing from the D&D that they just labeled it because that was the closest thing that they had.
That's what they could relate it to.
Yeah, absolutely, that they could relate it to. But yeah, again, like Vecna was a lich that got killed, and basically this lich decided that it wanted to be death. So it went and it cut off his arm and took the lich's arm and attached it to his so he could be the new lich. It ended up being like a pawn to the big lich. Like he had delusions of grandeur being this amazing thing. So just kind of a weird tangent, I guess. Yeah,
it is. The whole Vecna thing was just kind of funny. But my buddy Chris, I saw he was in there earlier. I don't know if he's still on there. He's got that original set. So I may next time I go over, I might have to just flip through and just see if my memory serves. Because remember, this was a really long time ago, and I never owned the white box.
Finally, an important question. From Marcus. So, Andy used 8408 number 3 brush on Kor-Drath, right? That is correct. However, the Raphael brushes, are really hard to find now. Yeah. So, because I tried to buy one. And the store I tried to buy from actually called me up and said, we got to cancel the order. We actually don't have any.
Oh,
so... and it doesn't look like Dick Blick. That art store has them. So they're becoming harder to find. So when I need to buy a new brush, I'm going to have to try something else.
You know what is also becoming increasingly hard to get now? X-Acto knife blades.
Are they really?
out of control.
Why?
And the prices are jacking up. I have no idea.
I'm glad I got mine when I did for the models. And
yeah,
Chris,
they're going out.
Pull out when you get a chance this week or stuff. Just pull out the old box set and just take a look for Vecna.
Dude, Hobby
Lobby. You hold on. You've got to be talking about blades. Yeah, because a brush is like 25, 30
everywhere
bucks.
for the longest time.
Really? That is really weird.
Yeah, like I actually went on Amazon and tried to buy. They had a 200 count box. I was like, fine, I'm just going to buy these so I don't have to worry about Exactos anymore. They're just like, we had to cancel your order. They had them in 200s and 300 count. They didn't have any when I ordered them. It said in stock.
No way.
Yeah, went to Michael's, which is our Hobby Lobby down here.
Yeah.
Can't find them anywhere, because I got to do all these unboxings and cut them and sand them and everything, and can't.
Well, what about? Because I was going to say, what about just a regular utility knife?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty much utility knife is basically about the same as an X-Acto knife. It doesn't have as much as a pointed tip, and when you're looking at things that are 1/38 scale, I mean, it's kind of difficult. You want to make sure that you don't clip any of the actual.
No. I meant because you originally said opening boxes, but then you moved on to the customizing and stuff like that. Obviously, you need a smaller thing.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, but it's
wow.
Yeah, D&D and D&D X-Acto knives.
What the heck are our prisoners doing? Stop making license plates and start making X-Acto knives, damn it.
Didn't you mention that you're using a new ink now? Like you were using that Black Indian ink at one time?
No, I'm still using Black Magic. I'm still using Black
Magic. You switched it out for something else. I thought you actually talked about that on one of your streams.
I might have asked Kelsey, I think, what type he uses, but I still use Black Magic. So
gotcha.
But the brush thing is really a bummer. I mean, dude, when I was in art school, the brush that I use now was only $11. That was 30 years ago, but still, now they're like $30 if you can find them.
Hey, so I'm going to show something on here, and I'm going to see what kind of nerds that we got. We went to a convention. Andy and I are going to hop on one of these days to do our comic haul, but I picked up something pretty interesting. I'm going to see if anybody can figure out what that is.
I know what it is. Can I answer?
I don't know.
No.
Oh.
I'm going to keep the name and everything hidden from everybody.
And you got two of them.
I did, because I had not seen them. Does anybody know what that is? SDA said Space 1999. No, I do have that on the back shelf. I have two different Eagles.
You showed it off.
It is not Space 1999. Try again.
Yeah, you showed it off. It's the Rossi.
It is. It's the Rocinante. Let's see if we can get in with this high-resolution camera.
Nah, you might have to get a better camera that's like $300.
It focused
I wound up finding this. It's a diorama, and I wasn't sure. The guy had no idea what it was. Yep, SDA. I could do that. Black Hole, another good movie, but no, I no longer have anything from the Black Hole. I don't even have a Maximilian or a Bob.
We know. Funny thing about the Black Hole, usually people name a movie like, Star Trek, and then they'll go, but if it was a porn, it would be blah, blah, blah. But with Black Hole, the title works the same for either.
No.
It does.
So since somebody asked, Space 1999.
Nice.
That's Space 1999. That's what the Eagles look like.
Does it open in any way?
If you've never seen the show, it is worth seeing. One of my buddies actually had the play set as a kid when we were kids, and it really was cool. It was a great show from the 1970s, Martin Landau. But now these are absolutely cool. This is a great recreation. This is an eagle moss that they put out.
I can't wait to come over and we're going to do our own special effects with firecrackers and blow some shit up.
That's going to be
Dennis owns and film it. do a green screen.
Dennis, I was going to say, whatever you bring over, we can do that.
Use all of Dennis's tears to put out the fire.
That's right.
Jack Kirby did the Black Hole Sunday strip?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Where's your Lex model at?
Which one?
The Lex.
The Lex?
Yeah.
I don't have the Lex.
Looks like a dragonfly. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
A black hole.
I do not. I do not have a Firefly. There's a few that I have downstairs. I don't have them up here. I mean, I've got all the classic Battlestar Galactica, the original Galactica, the Viper, the Cylon, the base.
I can't believe you said the Firefly. It's the Serenity. Firefly is the classic.
Yeah, Firefly's the name of the show.
Is the class of the ship.
So, like we were saying,
I don't even know what's like.
Yeah, you can't get. Even I know it's the Serenity. For the love of God, get that finger out of the way.
You better hope it's my thumb, not my finger.
I was just glad it wasn't something else.
But, well, one thing I will say is, we are going to look into some of the other, the game systems. I will check out like Tunnels and Trolls, Castles and Crusades. We'll just kind of wrap it up, I think. And everybody's complaining, but you guys, we didn't want to just complain about it. We wanted to let you know what was going on and how it affects us, because we are the example of the creators that this kind of a thing actually affects.
Yeah, and in conclusion with Kor-Drath, the module's coming out no matter what. We might have to tweak a few things, but other than that, it's not going anywhere. So
Wizards be
have
damned.
No fear. Huh?
Wizards be damned. We're putting it out.
That's right.
Well, we'll just change whatever. If we have like Dennis said, the story's fine. If anything has to be changed, it's really just maybe some of the stats on the character cards. That's it. So it's not a big deal for us. We'll definitely keep everybody posted if anything really does change.
And for those of you that aren't watching it live, and if you're on there, if you have any suggestions about a great role-playing system that would allow us to be able to use it, maybe use it like, we were talking the old Palladium. They had their old fantasy role-playing. Yep. I mean, we loved Robotech. We loved, they came out with Rifts, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Rifts kind of broke everything. They did have their role-playing. There's a lot of old school ones. They did Game of Thrones. That was actually really intriguing. And it had some good aspects to it, but again, that was based off of third edition. If you guys have suggestions about ones that we could use as systems, I'm open to them and checking them out. Like I said, Basic Fantasy, I am going to be really digging into. Dungeon World was highly recommended.
Are you liking Basic Fantasy?
What's that?
You're liking Basic Fantasy?
I don't know. It was one of the ones that was recommended to me. They just came out with their third edition, I guess. And I said I would pick it up and give it a shot and see.
I will give you my 5 cents. Basic Fantasy is not good.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Sorry, shut it down. Like it's not good. It's like it's made by people who don't know the source material, and it's like they're like, hey, I think this is how it should happen. I think this is how it would go. Okay. It's not very well put together at all.
Joe, go ahead and DM me, you're a messenger with me. Go ahead and shoot that over. I'm open to anything, and it's at the point now where I'm going to be going ahead and checking that kind of stuff out. So if you guys know of a good role-playing one, or somebody who's made one and wants it, let me know. I'm open to checking out everything.
Hey, Amish Ninja, Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing, the stuff that they have included with that, like they have priced out any third party or anybody from taking that and making it a role-playing game again. Like it was just that and the 40K, all the Horus Heresy stuff. They have just like Games Workshop, they value it too much to let anybody else take it, and they don't want to do it on their own. They're too busy making money off the Black Library stuff. So,
Cool. Well, good to know.
Because he mentioned Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. It's like there is no OGL with that. You can't you can't just deal with that one. You got to pay.
Pay to play.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's that. Guys, Kor-Drath is live right now. Please go check it out. I just finished page 28. 28 today. Yes, Alex Dennis did say, I'm open to anything. You should definitely clip that. I had a joke holstered up as soon as he said it, but I thought I'd let one slide every now and then. You just let it go.
But I'm glad, Alex, at least you caught that. Thanks you. I mean, you help Andy out all the time.
Man,
he's open to anything like a black hole. Anyhow, so Kor-Drath the Reckoning, 76 pages of fantasy barbarian-filled action. Just finished up page 28, kicking along. The Indiegogo page shows pages 2, 3, 4, and 5, but you can click, that's right, read pages 1 through 8 at Kor-Drath.com, and the art shows up a lot bigger than what's on the Indiegogo campaign, so you can actually read them, take in the detail of the art and everything. There's other stuff on the website.
You think that guy's okay on that first page? You think that guy's okay on that page? You think that guy's all right? He's
got issues.
It's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound.
You think he's going to be in the sequel? I'm just asking.
Oh no. You know, you never know what can happen.
Not with that sound effect.
No, not with that sound effect for sure. So,
that guy's definitely not okay.
Yes, it is real. So you can go check out the website by clicking on that link. Read the first 8 pages. There's stuff about the game module up there as well. As on here, like we said before, 5 different covers to choose from. You can get it. You can get everything in one tier, or you can do an a la carte. Back a certain cover on checkout. Pick the other cover you really like. If you like Conan, it's like Conan dumped into Game of Thrones with a little bit of D&D magic type stuff thrown in, but nothing that we can't use. So we can all use it. So go check it out. We've got t-shirts. We've got the Kor-Drath t-shirt. Let me just scroll down to it. Oh, look at that. Before we get to the shirt, there's the cover of the game module done by Bart Sears and Dan Lawless. Beautiful job. Of course, the parody ad. Dennis did a bang-up job writing this parody ad. It's very fun, very throwback to the Hostess ads, except with an ale. Axe Me Mead. Oh, actually, it's a mead. I forgot. It's Axe Me.
Thank you.
Mead. Kor-Drath the Reckoning. There's the t-shirt. That is metal as all hell. You would look good supporting and sporting a Kor-Drath t-shirt. Got the Bud Root t-shirt. Oh my God. Bud Root did such a bang-up job on this. Look, Kor-Drath is ripping that guy apart like the 49ers against the Cowboys. What, do you have a crystal ball? They haven't played yet, Joe. It's not till Sunday at 6.
Joe,
give it a break.
Joe,
Joe, I will say this, and Dennis can back me up. I am not predicting a Dallas win. But let me tell you, my friend, if they do.
That's not much of a fan. I'm not predicting my teams to win. I think they're going to get their asses kicked. But if they win, I can say, oh, I told you so.
I'm a realist. Now, with the Tampa game, I even said before the game started, the Tampa-Dallas game was a pretty evenly split game. But with the Niners game, I think the Niners definitely have a better advantage. So get yourself a beanie. So if you're bald like me, you can keep your head warm in the winter. Stretch goals. Everybody's getting these beautiful 7x10 character cards. They're playable characters. They will still be playable characters no matter what happens. We will adjust accordingly. So we keep our promise to you guys. The map is unlocked, so you get the map.
Whatever system it is in there, it'll be basic enough. So whatever system you're playing, it'll be a very easy conversion if you need to whatever system you guys are playing.
That's right. And we're on our way to unlocking the Lilith stretch goal as well. If you've already backed the campaign, we thank you so much for doing it. thank you for your support. If you want to support us more, share it out. Sharing is caring. So share it out on your social media. Tell your friends. We're almost at $75,000, just $306 away. So we're getting there. Bearwolf says, I'm born in June. Do you think Kor-Drath out by then? No rush. No. I mean, it does say an estimated delivery of November. Well, I'm hoping
if this was a normal comic book, yes, it would be easy. But this is at least 76 pages of high action. 76
pages, and each page is taking me about 2 days. So yeah, it's taken me a while. But, I'm trying to really bust my balls and put my all into this. I'm having a lot of fun drawing it. I've never been one to just be able to let stuff go. I always, toil and sweat over the pages. I mean, Dennis will tell you when he comes over, I'll show him stuff and be like, oh, I don't know, and whatever. And so it's the OCD. That's all. But you guys will like the stuff. When I can show more, I will. I've shown a lot of pages, but you don't want to show everything. Thank you. Good show, everyone. Thanks for that. Thank you so much. I tried to make it a good show. Glow in the dark version of the Lilith cover. I did get your message, Randy. The issue with that is those are not, we already have 5 covers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we have 6. We already have 6 covers. Doing the variant covers isn't inexpensive. Adding a glow in the dark cover, it's a cool idea. It does get more costly because it's glow in the dark, and maybe for the next campaign.
I was just going to say,
don't think
everything's open for the next one because
I think we're pretty locked in with this one. So the link is in the description below. Randy, like a champ, has been posting the link. Thank you so much for doing that, Randy.
The best.
You are the man. Thank you, everybody. And like I said, you can go to Kor-Drath.com, see more stuff by clicking right here, read pages 1 through 8. So you can do that. And look at that Bud Root cover. It is awesome. You are correct. Is Dennis allowed to show that trademark D&D monster on stream? Yeah, what are you doing? Let me see. What is that?
It's a beholder.
Oh, look at that. Anti-magic field. Yeah, baby. It's a light up beholder. Oh, yeah. And no, this could not be in our campaign because this is absolutely trademarked. Totally.
Nothing better ever came from Greyhawk. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly right. I just thought you guys would get a kick out of that.
I did.
You're done.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
Come over there, stuff a few firecrackers in the mouth of that thing, and let her rip.
I think,
like, behold,
you.
Pow.
Exactly.
All right. I guess that's it then.
Guys, I really appreciate you joining us. For those of you that watch it later, any comments below are appreciated. We do read all the comments. You guys can DM us at Dinges Comics. I'm on Twitter. And Thunder, yeah, baby.
Thunder.
Joe just mentioned him, and he shall appear.
That's right. Love Thunder.
With Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel.
The only thing that made me sad is that it was a pop. I am not a pop fan.
Dennis doesn't like pops.
Am I allowed to push something before we bounce out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that Pop XP has Will Spartaccio on next week. We're going to be discussing his new X-Men Legends, as well as all the artwork for all the artwork he contributed to the new mobile game Marvel Snap, which is an absolutely incredible card game that's not pay to win. It's absolutely, you can play it for free, and it's a great game. And you can check out my unboxings at youtube.com/@unboxings.
And look, it's right in your name.
It is in my name.
Yeah.
Nothing. A name by any other name would not smell as sweet. I don't think so.
I've got to see a couple of them. I think you guys will like them, and I can't wait. I'm going to definitely try and hop on to see Will's because I was an old X-Men fan, so
big fan.
He's getting to redo it, and I'm hoping he's going to get to tell the Bishop story that he always wanted to. You know.
Yeah. That's cool.
You know, they started bringing some of that stuff back, and he seems really energized by it. So I'm very happy for him.
Cool.
So, yeah, all this stuff just came at the right time for him, I guess. But Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. You know, I love to talk nerd stuff anytime. Anytime you guys want to call, I'm definitely down.
You got it, man.
Well, this was in your wheelhouse, and with everything going out, you know, we are like everybody else. We're trying to pull the information, sort it out, make decisions. So, you know, we loved having you on.
Well,
so tomorrow night, Dennis and I are going to go see either The Plane or Missing, and we'll have a review by the weekend for you guys on one of those movies. We haven't decided which one yet. They play at the same time. They are roughly the same running time, so it'll be the toss of a coin.
Yep. Did you guys ever try and find time to do our comic haul because we bought lots of cool stuff at the sports, comic, and toy show.
Did you ever do your review for Megan?
Yeah.
Oh man, I must have missed it. I'm gonna have
posted.
To go back and watch
it on our website.
It's a non-spoiler one too. So
nice. Are you guys gonna go watch Knock at the Cabin?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
I know it looks so good. He's M. Night Shyamalan is hit or miss for me with his movies. I really enjoyed Old, and this one on its premise looks very intriguing. So I'm crossing my fingers he won't let me down.
Yeah, that's right.
I will say a thing that added way too much to this last trailer that could have kept his head a little bit, you know. I mean, it's no double-sided lightsaber from episode 1 trailer or nothing, but yeah, it definitely hit some stuff. And yeah, Mando season 3 trailer looks absolutely incredible as well that just came out.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next Wednesday, and we'll announce a guest soon. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.